Difficult conversations rarely fail because we don't know what to say. They often fail because of our own fears. And they can also fail because we are afraid of the other person's maybe anger or other intense emotions. Or we lose footing when the pressure is high in some difficult conversations. Welcome to the Art and Science of Difficult Conversations, and this is our compilation episode. And I want to share with you 3 different powerful conversations. The first one is with Tina English, where we talked about how to have that courage to communicate. And courage doesn't mean absence of fear, but feeling that fear and having that difficult conversation anyway. Once we take care of ourselves and our own internal fears, then Chris will share some tips about what to do when you have that difficult conversation and somebody gets angry or defensive. And in the third segment, you will hear Chris and I in our role play how to apply when you already have the difficult conversation, you're prepared for the defensiveness, but maybe the other person pushes back and it's in the workplace environment. So we'll have a role play on when a team member pushes back on delegation and how to approach that and balance empathy with accountability. So if you ever avoided a conversation, felt hijacked by an emotion, or struggled to balance the empathy and accountability, this episode might be right for you.
Welcome to the Art and Science of Difficult Conversations, where we believe when you communicate better, you live better. Our guest today, she's a former pro athlete, she's a relationship coach, and I'm just excited to hear about her experiences. So today we're welcoming Tina. Tina, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm Tina. I started my career, with being an athlete, actually very young age, because first I started with horseback riding, then I was in the Snowboard World Cup. And after that, I decided it was more of a decision like that the life gave me, because I was winning a race that I thought was important to me, but I wasn't happy. I thought this race would give me happiness if I win it. But I was sitting in my car driving back, the goblet next to me, and I was like, well, if this is happiness, that's not enough. That was when I learned that maybe it's not all about winning, but there must be more to life. And that enabled me for the search for what is that more. And the more for me started to go to Latin America. I have this experience of living in another country for a while, and I didn't really speak the language because people there, they were so poor, but they were so happy. I decided to go live there for a while to understand what happiness means. And I think that was I don't want to say it was my boldest step into courage, because actually in the sports background, you need a lot of courage, like to show yourself, to show up, to show yourself who you are, to do the race, whatever it takes, because obviously you're not always in the best shape. Sometimes you have your problems, you have them with you, but you still go. Like it's 3, 2, 1, boom, go. And you have to, whatever it is, you have to deal with it. Like on the way, no one cares. So there were a lot of experiences that gave me a lot of knowledge for my life. But consciously stepping out of everything that I thought was my life was when I went to Latin America, and I lived with another culture in another, not mindset, but with people that had other priorities and other things that made them happy, because nothing there is based on money and status. There is no money, there is no status. So I learned really a lot there. And when I came back, I thought like, that'd be great if people could dive a little bit into that. And if I could help people to understand that happiness is not based on money and status, but there is a layer beneath that. And if this layer is in place, then everything else just adds to it. But if this layer is not in place, then you can do what you want. Nothing's really going to make you happy or fulfill you. And so I decided to do the coaching journey. And because after some education, and I didn't know which path to go, I asked my friends, what do you think I'm good at? And they said, I was coming from Latin America, the flirt pros. That's just true, And they said like, well, maybe you should do something in flirting. You're good at that. And I said, sounds fun. So let's do this. And this is how I came into coaching. And then basically everything, like developed step by step. First it was singles, then it was relationships. Then I developed or understood that, I mean, it's great to have a relationship coach and to coach relationships, but if you're not happy as an individual, the relationship is not going to work. And then I got back to more to the individual till that point where I'm right now, where I'm a performance coach and the Dream Life Mentor, where I try to make people create their dream life first. And from there, I think the relationship starts at just another level, because there you can just thrive together. You're not basing or trying to make your partner like make you happy, but you're happy. And from that place, when you come together with another happy person, then the happiness can just grow. And that's basically my life. So I can't say, like, looking backward, that there were a lot of incidences when I needed a lot of courage. But I think whenever you follow your heart, you need a lot of courage, whatever it is. If you just say to someone, I love you, and you don't know if the answer is yes or I love you too, that takes a lot of courage. And Lucy, to go to your situation that you said before, it takes a lot of courage to stay, but sometimes it takes a lot of courage to walk away.
Absolutely.
I think life is full of courage moments.
Yep.
That's an incredible story. Do you find that there are parallels between the courage it takes to when you're competing to go out there and do what you got to do, and then the courage in these kind of relationships and these conversations, or even to move to new places that where you don't know the culture really well? Do you find there similarities or differences in the types of courage required?
I think that the sports life actually gave me so many tools that I only retrospectively understand what they added to my life. Like, as I said before, you're there in the start box, and there you hear the countdown: 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I mean, every day, I wrote an article about that today. Every day we have this countdown in our life. Like when we open our eyes, it's 3, 2, 1, go. And then your day starts. We just don't hear it. It's not a conscious beat. But are we prepared for this day, or are we not prepared for this day? It doesn't matter. You go. You have to. And I think if you think consciously about that, you might do some different choices, because what we do not think is that we are already in the game. We think like procrastination or anything is like postponing the game, but we don't understand that whatever we do are in this game already. We're playing it. We're in this. There is no other game than life. Like going for your goals or going for your relationship or whatever it is, it's just part of the whole game of life. So every day when you get up in the morning, every year, every month, it doesn't matter. It's a new game and you start it over again. And I think when you consciously see it this way, you might do some different choices, because it's easy to say, well, I decide this tomorrow. But it's not so easy to say like, well, I am already there. I'm already in the goal. I need to decide this because I am going. So I think like when I went out of the start box and I was in the race, I couldn't postpone like, will I do this turn this way or this way? I was there already. And I had to do the decision in the moment. And I think this is what we do, because we don't think we are in the race already. So this is why we postpone so many things in our lives, unless I'm saying like, hey, I am on the go. I'm in this life already. And there's a decision. It's waiting for me right now. So why I'm not making it? I think this is, and this is based on a lot of courage to say, because whether we do yes or no, or I mean, even indecisiveness is a decision. So which decision will take me closer to what my heart is like crying for? This is the question we should ask. Not, do I take the decision now or tomorrow or another day? But this is just one life that we have. And if we really want to have this life fulfilled and live happy, or maybe create the dream life, then it's now or never. There's no tomorrow, because tomorrow will also only be a now.
It sounds like even fear of making the wrong decision can get in the way of our life and our happiness. What would you advise those people that are saying, I'm really struggling with making decisions because I feel I really want to make the right decision, and maybe I need to do more research. Maybe morning is better than the evening. There's a saying in Czech language, the morning is wiser than the night, to not to make decisions in the evening. What would you tell those people that are struggling with this?
I think there's two sides of the coin. There are people who really do not have enough education to make a decision. Like when you're just starting out and you learned a little bit, that's just a common thing that I don't even know who said that, but I see that it's completely right. So if you start something new and you learn a little bit, you think you're good at this because you know more than you knew like before. But when you dive deeper into the subject and you get like almost a master, then you understand, oh my God, there's so much things that I don't know yet. So, and this is also, like the more you learn, the more you understand there is still to learn. So some masters, they think there's so much still to learn and they don't take a decision because they see the whole thing that there is left for them to learn. And otherwise, the beginners, they just learn just a little. They make a decision because they think, whoa, I learned so much. So,
Yeah.
and I think it's a good thing to understand it this way. If someone had 1 year of studying medicine, I would not let them do a heart surgery on myself. But someone who is a surgeon, he's ready with the studies. He has done, I don't know how many, I don't really know what you have to do to become a professional doctor, but you have done this and much more. And then you still unsure about yourself, even though you have the best grades, you never really failed or anything, And this is the other side of the thing. So you need to understand where in this journey are you? If you're just a beginner, do the necessary steps that makes you or enables you to succeed. But if you are already good at what you're doing, then it's fear that is holding you back. And then it's your time to make a decision. There's something else that I think is important to understand. Even though you make a mistake, if you're not risking someone else's life, it's also a learning experience. You don't have to go to school to learn all lessons. Some lessons, they're just free of charge and life gives them to you.
True. And I wonder, this could be even a fear of rejection, let's say in relationships and flirting. When somebody wants to approach somebody, but they're so afraid of what if they're going to think the horrible thing about me? Or what if they're going to judge me? What if they're going to reject me?
It's a lot of that. I mean, that's amazing when you go to Latin America. These people seem to not have any of these fears. They go from one woman to the next, to the next, to the next, until one says, here, okay, and I want to get a drink with you. So there is no fear of rejection at all. And there's nothing, because I think they don't overthink the process. They know that there is a person, I don't know this person. Maybe if we talk for 5 minutes, I don't like this person anymore. And I think the fear of rejection that comes when you think too much about the process before you really get to know this person. So if you think of, oh my God, this person is so beautiful, and maybe they don't even see me, and maybe I'm not enough, then it gets scary because then you push this person up on the podest and you see yourself so small. And this is why there is so much fear involved and why you cannot make a step towards that. And in Latin America, these guys, also the ladies, but they would never make a first step probably, but it doesn't matter in that sense. Like, they just go there. They don't overthink it. Hey, this is a beautiful lady. I'm going to talk to her. She says, yes, great. She says, no, also great. There are 20 other beautiful ladies that I can talk to. And I think this is a good way to see it. And this is why I said before, overthinking is not necessarily good all the time. If you do the first step, you have at least a chance to experience if it would be for you or not.
Do you think that's also something that you learned as a result of being an athlete? I think athletes get used to putting themselves out there and making mistakes because that's part of the journey. You have to train and get better and fail at things. But it's not like that in most other outside of that. Like people don't like to fail or make mistakes. They don't like putting themselves out there. So do you see that difference, that contrast?
I have to say that athletes don't like to make mistakes either.
Oh, fair enough.
No,
Fair enough.
they like to win, but it's inevitable. So you cannot question that. So you have to put yourself out there. You have to give your best, whatever that means at that moment. And you have to make the mistakes. So there's no rational prevention. And that's the difference. Like normal in life, there is your ratio, your mind that is going to try to protect you from making mistakes. As an athlete, you don't have that chance. You go there and you just perform. There is no question mark in this process because it's too quick. It's too fast. So everything that is involved in this process, it's outside of you. So as I said before, there is the ding, ding, ding start. It's not, I don't say like I'm ready. Someone else says ready. And when you're not ready, it's your problem. You're still going to go there and you're still going to start. And in life, you overthink this. Am I ready? Is it the right time? In sports, no one asks you that. The right time is because on the schedule, it says it's this time and you go.
Yep.
That's it. And I think this is sometimes it would help in life if we say to ourselves, tomorrow at 8 o'clock, I'm going to do this. And that's the date with life. And it's not, I cannot postpone. I cannot remove it. This is what I'm going to do. And tomorrow, maybe set an alarm or anything. When it goes off, you go. Don't overthink it. I mean, this is something that I tell people that trying to lose weight or to do sports, for example. I do still sports every day. Am I motivated every day? No. There are sure days when I think in the morning, oh, I'm tired and I don't feel like it, but I don't think about that. I'm not thinking, am I tired? I mean, if I feel that my body is weak, like I'm like getting sick or anything, I would reduce maybe the intensity of what I'm doing.
Mm.
I'm not skipping it unless I'm really sick or anything. It's just put the question process out. And I just say, okay, I know that when I give into my mind goes like, yeah, but maybe, yeah, but maybe, yeah, but maybe. If I give too much of this thought room, it might convince me to do something that is not good for me because but I need to be stronger than my mind. And if I'm stronger than my mind, the easiest way of being stronger than my mind is just don't get into the chatter. Like avoid this conversation with yourself. Just say like, shut up, I'm going to do this now. And then after, like when you're done with what you tried to, or what you're going to be so, wow. And it's going to be such a good feeling. And instead of feeling guilty of not doing it, you feel great because you did it. And I mean, guess what? It's going to fuel your life.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. It inspired her when she watched some rocket blast off when they were counting, and she had really hard time waking up early in the morning, getting her day started. And so she had this idea, what if I do the same thing? Basically count from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off, do whatever I need to do without giving the brain a chance to talk her out of it.
Yeah.
So sounds
Don't
very...
give your mind a chance. That's the thing for me, Alan. And I think this is also something that it's easy to apply into your life. It's like, okay, I just don't think about it so much. And I just don't give this conversation space in my life. I go for thing. Are you doing that too?
There is, I would say for a lot of things, yeah. Waking up at 3:30, 3:45, if I have an early work session, that definitely helps me to get up. That rule. I'm just wondering though, where is the balance? Sometimes it can be difficult to say, do we override our body's signals? If that could be the danger of I just have to do it, and we push ourselves so hard that maybe we injure ourselves.
Some quality type, I think. I mean, there are for sure overachievers, like people that would push over their boundaries. But when I work with people, I think one of the most important things is that I try to connect them more to their bodies, to listen to the signals. The body is always talking to you, always, with all the little symptoms like being tired, not being awake in the morning, or feeling overwhelmed, or feeling tight or tension, or like digestion is not working like really good. So if you listen to these little signals, that is very important. And this should be, of course, if you feel like there's something wrong with your body, then you do not push. Then you just take it back. But it doesn't mean like, for example, you cannot get on a yoga mat and do some stretching. So it depends on what you're suffering for. If you're suffering and you're close to a burnout, then being gentle with yourself is for sure the better solution. But if you deal with procrastination, then pushing a little bit doesn't hurt. So I think it's to find the right thing for the right person.
So finding the balance in a way. What side are we on? Are we more procrastinating on things? Then maybe the pushing would be helpful, getting us to the balanced state. If we are just pushing all the time, maybe kind of easing in would be the way to get centered and grounded.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it also feels like what resonates with you, because I mean, not with what your mind thinks, but what resonates with your heart. Like if you feel that someone talking about, and it's like taking the steps and and something in you gets excited, like, wow, I need to listen to this, then this is more like what you need to do. And if you feel overwhelmed by hearing, and you have to do this step and and you feel like pushing is not what you need right now, then maybe taking back and taking care of yourself is what you need right now. So I think this is another point that we have not really learned, or in our society, it's not normal to listen very much to the signals to our body. All the workforce that we do, Like, it's always like, yeah, you can't do that and you can't do that and you can, yeah, of course you can. But what is good for you and what is still leaving you a life that is worth living? Like, you can reach all the goals. You can reach one after the other after the other. But if you just live for these goals and you don't enjoy the way, then like achieving a goal, it takes 1 minute, maybe 5, if you're lucky. It's, the endorphins that you feel. And if this is all what you're living for, and let's say you have 10 major goals, then at maximum you live 1 hour in happiness for all your life is not enough. So the way to this is as important as the goal itself. And I think if you understand to really embrace and live both, then you have the magic formula to create a happy life.
How do you think about learning to embrace that journey? Because I think I like that concept. How do you help others or think about learning to embrace liking the parts of the journey as you're on the journey?
I think it depends on where you are, but one of the most important things is that many people have forgotten what it means to be happy in the moment. So we are so focused on everything that is, whether the past or the future, that we do not appreciate what is now. So, for example, and I'm as guilty as everyone else. So if I have a very busy day, sometimes I find myself with my breakfast in front of my computer, but that's not what I do usually. So if it's not really an extremely busy day where I have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get everything at least mostly into this one day, then I try to take my time. And then I try to really consciously start the morning. Every morning I do meditation and yoga. That's indispensable. If I start at 2 o'clock for that, that's fine. I'm going to do it. Maybe I shorten it a little bit, but I'm going to do it. But if it's a normal day, then the first 3 hours of the day, they're for me. They're just for me, and I don't stress at all. And I think this sets me up for a good and balanced start for the day. And I think always, how we start into the day, it's going to give us the foundation of how this day is going to develop in some way. So I like to start this time with conscious time for myself. I like to enjoy my breakfast, and then I'm ready to take on whatever the day brings me. I mean, I have my plan, but sometimes it goes or like the plan, sometimes doesn't, just life. But I think the most important thing is that we find these moments where we look back at ourselves and try to feel ourselves. I have, when I start with a new client, so many times when I ask them, how do you feel? They don't know. They don't know. They cannot say, I feel like this. It's the only thing that they know is yeah, but that doesn't matter because there is something else that is more important. No. Most important thing is that you know how you feel right now, because actually being happy is feeling. You have to feel the happiness. If you don't have time to feel the happiness, you're not going to feel happy. So, and if you create your dream life and you're just running all the time, you're not going to feel a lot happy. The same is in your relationship. If you're not taking time for this connection, or even listening to what the other person is saying, chances are you're not going to be happy in this relationship because you don't even have time to experience it. So this is where we start. We take a little time and listen to what our body, our signals is telling us, to feel ourselves, to get back to, okay, if I do this, and that's fundamental, really fundamental. If I cook, does it drain me or does it fuel me? If I read, does it drain me or does it fuel me? You have to relearn what is empowering you, what is giving you positive energy. And if you go back to these fundamentals and okay, reading is good for me, cooking is not good for me, that stresses me, then do more reading and less cooking. Nowadays, there's really good chance that you don't have to cook as much as 100 years ago. So there are options for you. Even though I'm not saying that they're the best options, but there are options. And do this for a lot of things. I mean, there are things maybe that you cannot avoid at this moment, but it doesn't mean that around these things, you can put or place other things that really fuel you. And that's a good start. And from there, they are a good base to build on and build a life that you really like.
So it sounds like basically having a lot of conversations with ourselves and our body, and listening to what our body is saying, what our energy is saying.
Absolutely. I mean, happiness is just something that we feel. So if I'm happy, I feel it because my energy feels good, because I smile. Only not because I do that, because I force myself, but it happens. I feel open to the world. But how do I feel it? Because I consciously understand that I feel something. So if I don't take the time, so this is like running up a mountain because I want to go to the cross at the top. And I just run, 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 run. I don't even see flowers. I don't see the view. I don't see anything. And then at the top, I'm being, and it's going to be 1 minute. And then I go down.
Mm.
And all this journey, I didn't see anything. This is a marathon, but it's not life. I'm not saying that it's not okay to do it once in a while, but this is your whole life. No wonder that there is no happiness and there is a burnout inside because you don't take time to appreciate. It's just right now. You cannot appreciate tomorrow. You cannot appreciate in 10 years, even though you don't even know if you live in 10 years. So why not taking a little time for now and look what's awesome right now in this moment. For example, it's awesome we have that conversation and we inspire people. So why not appreciate that as well?
Sounds like the path to happiness then is 1, pausing, and 2, asking ourselves, what is something that I can appreciate? Kind of the path through gratitude in a way, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Yes. And also finding things that make you happy because people in depression, like they don't see so many things in that moment that make them happy. Okay. Then start like feeling yourself because there's also resistance to feel because they feel themselves not sufficient. They feel themselves sad when they go deep inside. So you need to take the first steps. You cannot, happiness is also not something that you have from one day to the next. It's a journey. And even though you are happy, tomorrow you will still have to understand what makes me happy. Because what made me happy today might not make me happy tomorrow because tomorrow's another day. My body feels different. So for example, today I'm doing a strong workout and that makes me happy because I did some things that I never did before and I feel super powerful. But tomorrow I feel tired and I will not be able to do the same workout because maybe I overdid it today. I don't know. Let's just make something up. And then something else will make me happy. Maybe tomorrow makes me happy that I take a walk and I enjoy the sun. So, every day, this happiness journey, it starts just fresh and new. A good thing is maybe to find 3 things a day. It's very little things where you can say thank you at night. Thank you that I could experience that. And even it's just like, thank you that I'm still alive because sometimes there are these days, when you feel like, oh my goodness, what a bomb. You made it through that.
Yeah, that's the exact same exercise. I work as a therapist also. That's the exact same exercise I offer to some people, like just journal the top 3 wins or things you're thankful for each day. And then they're always surprised, like after like just a week, they're like surprised, like, oh, I had so many things go well. I didn't realize this.
Actually, that is a very, very big point because we assume once we did something that it's normal because we were able to do it. And we forget so many times the awesome things that we did. Like on the way, like when we want to get better, like I said it today and I'm just going to say it again because I think it's a cool metaphor. Like when you do a bungee jump and you stand up there, you're super afraid, like, oh my God, I cannot do this. And then you do the bungee jump and then you did it. And then immediately your mind goes like, that wasn't so big of a thing. It was just, you could do it. And I think this is where we have to protect ourselves from that our mind reduces the impact that this thing had. Because in the first moment, you feel like, whoa. And then your mind was like, yeah, it wasn't such a big thing. No, don't do that. Like, take a note of how big this thing was. And when you stand up there and you thought like, oh my God, I can never do this, take a note of this. And then be proud of yourself that you did it because it's going to fuel your life and it's going to fuel your journey forward.
That reminds me, I used to do martial arts and I participate. I'm not a pro, but I competed in a couple of mixed martial arts tournaments and I talked to multiple other fighters of other sports and they all feel the same way. Like leading up to sparring or an actual fight, our hearts were just beating so hard. Like it was just indescribable. Like one guy told me he felt like throwing up before every fight or spar. But as soon as the fight starts, we all of us feel calm. We're like, okay, now we're in it. It's okay. We know what we got to do. But leading up to it is like the most nerve-wracking thing in the world.
It's a beautiful metaphor, I think, for everything. Like every athlete can say that, like the start, that's the most horrible thing. When you did the first curve, you're in it. You don't have even time to think about it. And I think it's for everything where you take the first step in your life. It's what you think about what it will be what makes you scared and what makes you postpone, what makes you procrastinate. But once you did the first step and you see like, I'm still alive, so let's do the second as well. Then it's just like, yeah, then you're in it already. So it's really the thing like, and this is what brings me back to just don't think so much. Do it. I mean, not jumping without the bungee jump, not risking your life, but public speaking, for example, is a great example for that. So you're not gonna die. Whatever's gonna happen, if the people like you or they don't like you, you're not gonna die. So you're pretty safe to do it or to at least try it. And this is a great example for where you can push I call it the sustainable pain zone because I don't think that we are comfortable in the comfort zone. Actually, we're really uncomfortable there because we want to leave it because we don't like it. And the real comfort is outside of it. So for me, it's really like leaving this space and pushing through forward into something where we really can relax and where we really can be the person that we're supposed to be, that we feel like internally that we want to be.
What's coming up for me is how to balance the preparation with taking the action. For athletes, they do a lot of training for a race or anything that might take just a shorter time. So even with Chris, we talk about preparing for the difficult conversations.
I think honestly that we cannot skip the work. Whatever you have to do in your life, if it's relationships, if it's business, you can never skip the work. Like for difficult conversations, it's a lot of work that you have to do with yourself to overcome your own fears and especially the fear of not being loved, because this is one of the greatest fears that we have, like people, humans. We want to be loved and having a difficult conversation. Why don't we have it? Because we fear of losing this person. That is obviously important because, excuse me, if that person wouldn't be important, the conversation wouldn't be so difficult. So, and this is what we have to work on, whether it's ourselves or the work that we do outside of ourselves. If we think that the work doesn't need to be done, we're completely wrong. So there is no achieving something without doing the work. It's massive work. I'm not lying to anyone. I don't like to tell people like it's all going to be in the blink of a moment because no, you have to do the work. Once you do the work, and for example, if you get rid of this fear, if you know that you are awesome, that you are lovable, you deserve love, even though you might not fit to this one particular person, even though you love them, but even though they say no to whatever it is that we want to talk about, it doesn't mean that they don't love you, but it means maybe that they love themselves too. And this is not compatible. If you understand it this way, conversations get a little easier. I'm not saying it eliminates the hurt. You know, when you split up with someone in a relationship that you love, it's going to hurt, but that doesn't need to ruin your ego or the person that you are when you don't identify with this relationship as a part of yourself. If you know you are lovable, you deserve everything, and you are complete even without that person, then that person is like an add-on to your life, but it's not a necessary part to make you stable. And I think this is the work that you need to do to stabilize yourself enough that you don't need the person, but you can appreciate them and love them for who they are and when they are there and as long as they're there.
What would you say could be some steps for somebody that is in a place, well, if this person doesn't love me, that means something is wrong with me. I have all these data to prove that something must be wrong with me and I'm not lovable. And so, yeah, you can tell me I'm worthy, but I don't think so. What would be some first steps this person could take?
It's a very, very difficult situation. And I think in some extent, we all have been in the situation. I mean, I don't know, but I have been in this situation. I think a very good first step is to look in your dark spots. Why am I thinking this? Why am I thinking that I'm not awesome? Where does this come from? Who hurt me in my past? What happened in my whatever education, wherever, anything before? Where is this coming from? Why don't I believe that, this little child that was with these blinking eyes and this radiant energy? What did happen in this life of this person that they don't believe they're awesome, lovable, and everything, that they have everything? I mean, people say always like they don't want to look so much in the past yet, but some moments we have to just understand where it's coming from so we can heal it. Because actually this moments when we feel that we are not enough, it's our inner child that needs love, that needs to be whole, that needs to be cuddled and to like be seen for what it wasn't seen at this moment. And this is what we need to do. Like really find what did we miss at one point. And then because now we're adults, we can give it to ourselves. We don't need anyone else to fulfill this void that we have in ourselves. We can do it for ourselves, but there is this process of learning, and it's going to be a little difficult for many people to do it on their own. A point of an advice is to maybe get some help for this, because especially if you are like 30 plus, you have carried that for a very long time. And I'm pretty sure that you have tried to eliminate it from your life, but you didn't see it because it was so painful. So you stuck it somewhere and you covered it and you forgot it and you hid it. So get a little help to see this. And it's also a safe space to open this up and to like slowly approach it, because you don't have to do it like in 1 second. And I think it's a little bit of a process to find back into self-love, because for many people also, it's like when you look at Louise Hay, like standing in front of the mirror and tell yourself, I love you, and believe it. For many people, this is impossible because they don't think of themselves like this. And I think to really be able to be in a successful relationship, this is space to be able to stand in front of the mirror and say to yourself, like this person, the one person that you cannot escape for the rest of your life, you need to be able to say, I love you when you stand in front of the mirror. This is the reason. When you are there, when you have like refound this for yourself, like when you embrace that for yourself, that's a good time to dive into these conversations without fear.
So antidote to fear is love and starting with ourselves and having the conversations with ourselves, compassionate, kind conversations to the mirror.
Absolutely. The opposite of fear is of love isn't hate. It's whether you don't care or.
And so the path, if we take it to the difficult conversations, to have better difficult conversations, sounds like to start with ourselves and saying something affirming to ourselves. Wouldn't it be
the most difficult conversations we have with ourselves? What we think of ourselves is, I mean, criticizing myself way more than other people.
True.
Not very kind with myself, but I had to learn to be kind with myself. I mean, sometimes, like when I'm really stressed, I find myself in a little moment when I get, hey, come on, you have the right to do something that wasn't like 100% great. And then I laugh about myself, say, it's okay. Like you fucked it up and now you're going to restart this thing and you're going to do it again. But beating yourself up for everything that goes wrong, and also for that, like, for example, in difficult relationships, what happens sometimes is that we beat ourselves up for what goes wrong in other people's lives. When you're at this point, then like there's no way out because you cannot win this anymore. So you need to find back to the kindness that you give to other people. Like how you look at other people. Like other people make a mistake and say, oh, yeah, I mean, it wasn't that bad. Especially, for example, if you're in a toxic relationship, you would grant this favor to the toxic person like all the time, because it's the only way that you can stay in this relationship, because otherwise you would sell yourself for nothing. So you find excuses for the other person and you put all the burden on your own shoulders and the care and the weigh you really down. So why can you not at least give you the same compassion that you can give the other person? Then maybe you need to face that you cannot stay in this relationship anymore. Okay. But the compassion to yourself and not carrying too much weight and so much weight that it almost kills you. This is a very, very important part of the happy life.
Why do you think we're so hard on ourselves or people in general?
I think we learned that like in school or in education. This is where it all started. We were judged by marks in school, and you did this right and you did this wrong, and you will have success in life based on if you had a good mark in mathematics, even though you're good at communication or something like that. And I think because of that, sometimes we were also, and this is, I think, a thing that we have in our society, that we also get punished, like with not getting love. Yeah, like children were sent on their room and now, and this is hard because the children don't understand. So like no one goes to the child and say, I love you, but that wasn't good. So in our communication, like the way we communicate things, we don't say that one thing wasn't good that you did. We say you are not good. So we identify whatever was not good, what the person did with who the person is. And I think this makes us judge ourselves way more, because when something goes wrong, we have learned that it's not one thing that went wrong, but we were wrong. We did something wrong. We are wrong. The wrong thing is not what we did. The wrong thing is us. And this is where we judge ourselves. And for other people, we can look at them and see that this is not them. We don't identify the person with what they do. For us, that looks a little different. We identify ourselves many times with whatever we do. And this is why we're judging so hard on us.
That's like you said, if you're in your 30s, or even if you're in your 20s, if things are happening from a kid, from a toddler, it's decades of hearing that message.
Yeah. It's like, and you repeat it also. Like, it's not just that you heard it from outside. You keep repeating. Like, you identify. Like, you're not saying, like, let's say you burned something on your oven. It's not like, oh my God, this thing burned. Why am I so stupid? This is the natural reaction. Why did I do this? Okay, you didn't pay attention. So it wasn't you. It was something that you did, but you identify. And that's the problem, because this is why you beat yourself up. And it was just like something you burned. But people are seriously mad with themselves for something like that. And that wasn't even serious. It was like, okay, one spoiled food.
That's wild. So how long did it take you personally to get on this, to come to a place where you could be compassionate towards yourself, or just even further than when you started?
I think it was like when I really started this journey, I have to say, I think like 4 years maybe, to really come to a point where I can feel like what is on the outside doesn't really influence me so much. So because at the beginning I was kind to myself, but when something happened on the outside, I was still like impacted. So to come to a point where I can really say, okay, this happened on the outside. Sometimes I wonder and I'm like, whoa, I don't understand even what's happening. So, but I don't give it credit. Like, I'm not thinking I'm the reason for this. I just think, okay, I don't understand why this happened. I don't think that I did something, but maybe that's the new thought that you need to adapt. Maybe it doesn't have to do anything with me. It can be something that this person suffers from. And maybe it's just not me. Maybe it's just them. And I'm the mirror. I'm just reflecting something about themselves that they don't like, and they're reacting to this. And sometimes their words reflect that even. They say something, okay, now you're not talking about me. For example, they would tell me something like, you're afraid. Or no, I'm not. Like, because I know I'm not. So, and then it's like, and the more you get conscious about who you are, the less these things affect you. The more you can be like, okay, I see you, I hear you. Thank you for the feedback. I mean, this is something you can still say, thank you for the feedback. You're not obligated to take it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like another rule to happiness would be not to take things personally.
That's a good thing. I mean, this is like you said before, balance. I'm not saying that you're like, you can never make a mistake. Of course you can. So some feedback might be true. Sometimes you might have done something to hurt other people. Maybe you didn't want to, but it still happened. So it's not like it's never you. But even though it is about you, it's not personally against you. So again, don't identify yourself as the being, as the human, with the thing that went wrong. It's something that you did that wasn't good. You as a person can still be okay, and you can make up for what went wrong. Because if you think that you went wrong, it's harder, or maybe sometimes even impossible to make up. If it's just one thing that you did, there is a chance you can make up for this.
Sounds like really working on our mindset from that one. That means I am not good enough. I will never change and I'm doomed forever, basically, versus the mindset of I'm worthy no matter what. Even if people reject me, even if I fail, doesn't mean anything about my worthiness. Kind of separating the worthiness from what people say or do around us, or if I achieve or not.
If I have this positive mindset, like that I'm worthy and that I'm able to do or to achieve whatever I want, then I enable myself to override the negative and to create something positive. If I think about myself in this negative way, then how can I build on this something positive and something stable? So I think just the basis for relationships, for business, for whatever you want to do in your life is that you believe that you're good enough and you can do it. Because otherwise, if here it says no, how can your life give it to you? And you can really take it, because that's another thing. Like when you don't believe, for example, that you're beautiful because you think like you're not, and anyone outside of you will come and say like you're beautiful, you're not believing it. And that's the same with success or other things that come to you in your life. If you don't think that you deserve it, that you own it, that it is for you, you're going to reject it. So it cannot stay. So open your arms and say like, it's all good. I can make mistakes, but it doesn't mean that I'm not worthy of it. That means I have to learn something and I can get better. But go back to the basics. I think we talked about it before. Feel yourself and do little things that make you happy. You don't like, again, it's a journey. It's not something that comes from you like from one second to the other. So I think when the children move out, it's something very great to rediscover who you are when you're not a mother or a father, because it was a role that occupied really a big part of your life till that point. So now rediscover, who am I now? I have evolved, but like this situation or this phase in my life that has changed me. I'm not the 20-year-old like bungee jumping person anymore. So who am I now? And then start to do the little things that make you happy, like 3-4 things every day, and rediscover what fills you now, what fulfills, what fuels you now, what gives you energy, what makes you fall into bed at night happy, and do that. And this is a great way to restart the life. You don't have to figure it out all in one day, but I think when the journey is good and fun and makes you happy, like if you have 4 or 5 things every day that make you happy, it's already worthy of a day. It's already a good day. And if you have these days, then eventually you'll discover a new path and a new way that you want to go. So just take your time, be patient with yourself, and really embrace moments of happiness and make them more. So many times in life, I think we don't have the roadmap. And even if we have the roadmap, the road changes sometimes. You know, there is construction area. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
what do I do now?
Yeah.
I think this is the beauty of life. You can have the road and you can have it all figured out, but then life says, no, and you need to do something else.
Yeah.
So why not surrender a little bit to what is, accept it, don't refuse it, don't reject it, don't work against it, because it's there anyway. You cannot, I mean, you're not making it better by pushing it away. Like our. So just take a deep breath and say, I'm going to face it. Let's see what it brings.
Tina, what are, if somebody was, let's say for some random reason, somebody turned on this episode and they fast forwarded to just this point in the episode randomly, what are 1 to 2 big takeaways that you hope they would get from this?
Don't overthink your life, and the thing that you should focus on for whatever you want to do is feel into what is good for you. Don't let yourself be held back so much by the boundaries that you make up in your own head. Don't overthink it, and just do the first tiny little step. Open the window, look out, and go to the other side just to taste if the grass is greener.
Love it. Tina, you're so inspiring. Are you a keynote speaker?
Yes, I am.
I was going to say, I'm ready to like jump up and like run through the wall right now. So excited about everything you just shared. This is incredible.
But I love speaking. I think this is just my thing.
Yeah, you're good at it. This is great. Like it's awesome. Your wisdom and your experiences. How would people find you if they want to follow your work? If they want to get in contact with you, how could people find you?
The easiest way is probably my website. It's www.tinaenglish. It's TINAENGLISCH.com. And the Tina English is all my social handles on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn as well. So it's pretty simple.
Awesome. Love keeping it simple. We'll link all that in the show notes below, but it's all good. Tina, this was so inspiring to me. It was so great to hear you share. Thank you so much for being on our podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really great being here. I loved it.
In this episode, I want to talk about how do you respond to intense emotional behaviors in a hard conversation, or how do you respond to when people push back against you? They say no, they resist everything you're saying. How do you break through that? And there's actually 2 main things to think about. Number 1, you want to think about how to prevent it. There's things you can do to even set it up so that you can reduce the likelihood of it. Number 2, there are things you can do to address it in the moment.
So let's break it down one by one. How can you prevent these kind of things, or at least reduce the likelihood of them happening? First, in the beginning of the conversation, you set the tone by setting ground rules. Set ground rules with the other person so that they can feel safe in the conversation. Talk about what are the limits. Talk about off-limit topics. Talk about what's going to happen if somebody raises their voice or gets angry or whatever, how you're going to take a break. Talk about those things now. The sooner you can bring those out into the public, the more safe the other person will feel in the conversation. There's nothing that'll ever magically prevent somebody from ever getting upset at you. All this does is help reduce that. Because remember, when you're going into the conversation, especially if you're the one bringing it up, they're going to feel that fight, flight, or freeze response, just like you're going to feel it, just like I feel it, just like everybody feels it in these hard conversations. So set the tone, set some good ground rules. They go a long way to help someone stay even keeled. Second thing you can do to prevent it is to practice and plan what your emotional regulation skills are going to be. You're going to potentially feel really upset, or you're going to feel anxious about this conversation. Think and plan ahead of time. What are you going to do ahead of time in the moment? That doesn't stop it from happening. It just gives you a plan so you feel confident, so you know you're going to be able to respond. Are you going to take a deep breath? Are you going to hold something in your hand to press on so you can put your tension into that? Whatever it may be, do something. Essentially, you're trying to control yourself, because the more you can control yourself, you can set the tone, and you don't have to escalate the situation when the other person starts getting upset or angry or whatever it may be. So now, how do we get into the conversation? How do we respond in the moment? Because things may still happen. First, remember that this is the fight, flight, or freeze response. If they're fighting back, it's that fight, flight, or freeze response. Revert back to your active listening skills. So things like reflection. Just reflect what's going on for the other person. It sounds like you're frustrated. Sounds like you're upset. Sounds like you're angry. That's great. All those things will be fine to say. You don't have to be very specific. You don't have to be super deep. Just commenting what's happening can make a big difference. And I want to be really clear and honest with you. A lot of people stress about, what if I get the wrong thing? What if I say the wrong emotion? What if I get this wrong? Here's my answer to you. It doesn't matter. For the most part, if you are right most of the time, that's okay. And if you're wrong, that's okay. They're going to tell you what the right answer is. If you say, you're just frustrated. It sounds like you're frustrated about how we're handling the situation. No, I'm not frustrated. I'm just annoyed that we have to keep talking about this. See, that's more information. Then you can talk more about that, explore that. So even if you get it wrong, that's okay. The only caveat is, if you get it wrong all the time, then that's a real problem. If you get it wrong all the time, then they're going to feel like you're not listening. It's going to make them more angry. But for the most part, as long as you stay even keeled, as long as you get it right most of the time, you're going to be okay. Second thing you do is ask questions. Just ask more questions. If they're getting frustrated, if they're getting angry, if they're starting to yell, just comment on it and then ask a question about what's going on for them. I'm noticing you're getting angrier, you're getting upset. What about this is upsetting you? Ask questions. You're trying to get them out of that emotional state and having them think logically about what's happening. So that's why it's okay to ask questions in these kind of situations, right? If you ask too many, obviously it's all just like everything, it's moderation. If you ask too many questions, it just becomes an interrogation. Asking questions in general, though, can really help you learn more information and really helps them slow down and think through why they're behaving the way they are behaving or thinking the things they think. Then you could also think about summaries. That's number 3. Summaries are as they sound. You're just recapping everything that was talked about in the conversation. And I want to help you think through a way to use this intentionally. Most people, when they summarize, they just recap everything that was said. I'm going to encourage you to be thoughtful about the order in which you recap everything that was said. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is recap everything that they said, try to use their words as much as possible, and then at the end with the thought you want them to start picking up on. So for instance, can I just summarize where we're at? I just want to make sure I get everything right. You're upset that blah, blah, blah happened, and you're upset that we're talking about this, and you're upset that there's no good resolution, and you don't think I'm right. And at the same time, you do want to try to find a way to work together better. See how that at the end, I acknowledge everything that they said, even if I don't agree with it. But at the end, I leave with the last sentence is the last thought I want them to start with. By doing so, you can control the flow of the conversation. And that's why it's really powerful. As long as you say everything else is, as long as everything else you say is accurate, describes what they were saying, you use their words, they'll agree with it. And then the last thought is what they're going to respond to. That's the power of using summary as well. The other things you can do is just take a break. That's the one overlooked skill a lot of people have is can we just take a break? Can we just take a breather where our emotions are flaring, things are getting heated? Can we just take a step back and come back in a couple of minutes when we're ready to do this? It's okay to ask for a break. It's not a failure. Some people think you need to stay in there as long as possible. You don't have to. You can take a break and come back to it, and you don't have to allow it. You could even talk about that in the ground rules at the beginning. Talk about how if one or both of you feel upset, either of you have the flexibility and the responsibility to ask for a break at that point. Give them some control back in the situation. That way they don't have to feel on the defensive the whole time. And so those are the main things you can do in the middle of the conversation. You don't have to yell back. You don't have to fight back. You don't have to come up with a more airtight argument about why you're right. Just ask good questions, reflect how they're feeling, summarize with intention, and then take a break when you need to. And of course, old standby, make sure you use your own emotional regulation skills. If you listened to the episode last week, Tiffany talked about the importance of mindfulness for her. And that's one of the main things she recommends. I recommend it too. Take a deep breath. That's one of the big skills I use. When somebody in the conversation says something that really upsets me, I will take a deep breath, one long deep breath, and I'll make it visible because I want them to see that I'm thinking about the situation and I'm trying to slow down. It's okay that they see it because I want them to see that I am trying to respond and not react because I care about the quality of the conversation. And you can even bring it up. A lot of making this conversation feel comfortable for the other person is making the invisible stuff visible. So comment on that. Say, I just need to take a minute. I want to respond well with respect. So let me just think about that for a second. That buys you time to think about it. So those are the big things. Prevent it, number one, by even setting ground rules, making sure that you have your emotional regulation skills set up and you're ready to go and you're able to manage your emotions. And then in the moment, remembering that it's basic active listening skills. Ask questions, be curious, summaries, take a break. So those are the big things. Join us next week when Lucy and I jump back into another role play where we talk about conflict between departments and how you can have a conversation to rebuild that relationship. See you next week. How do you delegate to a staff member who keeps pushing back on your delegation? So that's the essence of how do you get an employee to do something that they essentially keep not wanting to do. And
And
Lucy, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, in this scenario, I'm going to be the manager.
Yep.
And Chris is the unfortunate employee and team member.
Yeah. I think it's important to share because I think other people will see different details. But in this scenario, let's imagine we're a small team. Lucy's our manager. There's 5 of us on the team. And somebody has left / been fired for not doing a very good job. And so now it falls on me to take on most of his tasks, the guy that left. And a lot of his tasks are a lot financial based. So reconciliation, financial reporting, receipts, and I'm just going to push back. And so let's see first how not to do this conversation at all.
Hey, Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. All right. How you feeling, Lucy?
Okay, thank you. It's a lot of work. And talking about lots of work, as you know, James left our team.
Yeah.
And
That's okay. I
it,
think it's fine for us.
Yeah, and well, there's one thing. James had responsibility to reconcile the 3 accounts that he was responsible for,
Yeah.
and I need the reconciliation by the end of the week. And I know today's Monday, and by Friday, ideally, because he left unexpectedly, we really need to get it done. So I really wanted to ask for your help, and basically let you know that you need to get it done. If you can get it done
That
uh,
that's
by
not gonna happen.
Friday.
That's not gonna happen, Lucy. Lucy, that's not my job. It's not in my job description, and you can't force me to do it. I don't want to do it.
You're part of the team. You're getting paid for and the company pays you because the company needs you to do the work. And it doesn't really matter if this was your work or not. Now it is your work. And I'm sorry, but if you want to keep receiving the pay, you gotta do the work, Chris. I'm sorry. So I think
But
this
am
is not
I?
up
But I
to
am doing the.
discussion or negotiation.
But Lucy, I am doing the work, right?
Yeah, but
Of the job description that you gave me that I signed when I started here, I am doing that work,
yeah,
right? Like
if
I'm
you want
doing
to,
that work.
sounds good.
So
I what I can do, if you really want to go by the job description, I will just add it to the job description. And
you
this
can't
is
just add
part
it to
of
the
your.
job description.
This is I'm your manager, so this is actually something that I can do to really, my responsibility is to take care that things are getting done that need to be done. And so I think I'm gonna send you an email with the revised job description. And if you need our mutual boss signature, I'll get it there. And uh, I'll I'll talk to you then. I'll after
You
the
can send it to
email.
me, but just so you know, I'm gonna reach out to HR and talk about this because that's not in my job description. So I'm gonna be pretty clear with them.
Yeah, sounds good. But unfortunately, HR really cannot see into the job descriptions. That's really up to the CEO also to determine. And they are looking for a new team member. So hopefully we'll get, somebody new. But temporarily, somebody needs to get it done. And I already have my plate full. So this is, at least temporarily, this is what we need to do.
Whatever.
Alrighty, I'll talk to you later. So it
But
was quick, unpleasant exchange.
what do you think happened there, Lucy? From your perspective, trying to talk to me.
So from my perspective, I will take accountability, responsible for myself. And I would say I really didn't show much empathy there.
Hmm.
Any empathy, I think. No validation. And I wasn't really asking you any questions and to explore how is it for you. I basically told you this is what needs to get done. I wasn't even getting upset and pushed back. And I said, well, if you want to play it this way, then here it is. I'm going to update the job description. And so it wasn't really creating a safe environment, but I was actually creating an unpleasant environment where instead of, I assume you feeling better, you felt even more and more resistance and upset. And almost like, well, if this is going to continue, I'm out as well.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
assume that would
Hmm.
go in that direction. How was that for you from
I
your
mean,
side?
absolutely. It was just you were not listening to me, and you were just plowing ahead. And some of the things you said probably would get you in trouble with HR. Um, maybe not in trouble. You won't get in trouble for anything you said, but certainly HR does have specific policies. Like you couldn't just
Mhm.
change my job description. That'd be
Yeah.
wild if you could just change
Hmm.
people's job descriptions without them thinking about it. And you know, it's just not conducive. You're not having a conversation, even though you like. And here's the hard part: you need to get things done.
True.
Like outside of me being in the situation, we get it. You and I get it. People listening get it. Like we have to get things done somehow. And we can't always, we'll sometimes have to do things above and beyond what our job description is. But that's not the way to go about it. Just kind of hammering it home and pushing through.
It actually didn't lead to the desired outcome. It seems we left it somewhere where you said, okay, whatever. And
Yeah.
I will send you the email, but it didn't seem it was a productive ending, and both of us felt upset. So should we do round two?
Let's try it again. Now let's see how you could do it in a more efficient, or not efficient, but a more effective way.
Let's see what's gonna happen. Hey Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, Lucy. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you for asking. I have this challenge. Do you have like maybe 15 minutes at least, or half an hour? How is your time
Yeah,
today?
I have 15 minutes. I have something I need to get ready for a meeting later today, but I have 15 minutes. What's up?
Alrighty. Thank you so much. So here is a challenge. You know, James left the company.
Yep. Good riddance.
Yep. And here is the challenge. We have extra reports, extra work to do by
Mm.
the end of week. Unfortunately, I found out these reports were not finished on time. And so the full deadline is this week, Friday.
Ugh.
And my plate is completely full. I can try to do something, but then other things might not get done. And so I wanted to invite you to brainstorm here with me. How can we get it done? Is there something that you temporarily could take care of? I know this is not completely what you sign up for to do here, but I really was hoping we could co-create some creative problem solving here. How we get this job done. I know
Yeah,
it's a tough situation.
it's not stuff that I do. So I don't know how to do it. And so I won't be a very good help. I don't know, like, is there anybody else on the team that could help? Whether it's Bethany or Jen, like, is there nothing you can take on? Because you have much better visibility than either of us have into it anyway.
That's a good question. I mean, I could take piece of it, very small piece of it. I will also have a conversation with Jen. That was my next step that I really want to make sure that I talk with anybody. She wasn't able to join our meeting today. I wanted also her to be there.
Mm.
But I also wanted to check with you anything that you get from here's the list of his things. Is there at least one thing that you know how to do that you might take on just temporarily for
No,
now?
because I've never done the financial stuff. I've never done whatever that reconciliation is. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, I've never done any of that stuff before.
So how about, because Jen might possibly help me out with this one. I wonder, because you were filling in for Jen sometimes, if you could take on her something from her plate, and then Jen can help me take care of the financial data.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I could. Yeah, I could take
Oh,
on something
Chris, you're the best.
um that she usually takes care of. I know she usually takes care of some of the admin stuff and some of the email coordination stuff, and I could do that.
Yeah. So
Um, so if is it just for this week?
So this could be for longer. We need to really, I think, figure out together as a team how we are going to approach it so nobody gets burned out, because I really care about you guys so you don't get burned out and still the work needs to get
Yeah.
done. So how about we do this for this week, and then we meet again and we figure out how can we move forward before they hire somebody else,
Okay.
and how as a
Yeah,
team we can survive this together without
sure.
any one person burning out.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'll do it this week, but I really don't want to take it on the whole time because that's
Makes
way too
sense.
much.
Makes sense. It is. I completely get it. How about you guys have a meeting together? I don't need to micromanage you. You figure out together what she can give you and what she can take on. And then we can have at the end of the week, or maybe beginning of next week, meeting together, maybe Thursday, based on our schedules. So we can really start planning, like, if this is a month, this month, what really needs to happen, and prioritize together as a team.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate you
All right.
and your
Thanks, Lucy.
flexibility with this. You're
Yeah,
welcome.
appreciate it. Thanks.
See you. Bye.
Wait, what happened? You got me to do something I don't want to do.
Yay!
How did that happen?
So, would you want to go first with how was this for you?
I mean, I think it was definitely much less confrontational. I want to include a detail that you did well both times. Is I essentially said I said it out loud this time, but I essentially implied that it was good that James left, that he's gone
Yeah.
both times, and you didn't comment on that. So that's actually really good. You didn't say, "Yeah, good thing he's gone." Very good. This time, I think it was great that you framed it as this is a problem. How can we solve it together? I think that was a better way of, instead of telling me I have things I need for you to do. Instead, you're like, come alongside. I got this problem. What would you do? How would you handle this? And I still tried to give you, no, I'm not going to take anything on. And, you kept thinking about how can we be more creative about the situation. So I think overall your approach was the, you had in mind what the overall goal was, which was you need to distribute the workload somehow across this team. You weren't concerned about how it's going to be distributed. You were more concerned about that it needs to get distributed somehow, and the work still needs to get done. So I think that was an important mindset to keep in mind, so that you don't get frazzled by me saying, "Well, I don't know how to do any of that stuff, so I can't take anything on."
True. And it was, if you also brought up other colleagues in a way, you contributed your ideas. Maybe some other people could take it on, which
Hmm.
supported me in, oh, actually, yeah, maybe that could help us. Part of the creative problem solving.
Yeah.
And then I ask a question, would you be willing to take on that? When that there's not that challenge, because I heard your challenge was, well, I've never done it before. It's not just not in my job description, but
Mm,
also I don't have the skills, the knowledge to get it done.
yeah.
And actually something that you do have the skills, knowledge to do. And you were so
Right.
kind to say yes, to take it on.
Yeah. Somehow, I think that's the important point is, when you get that pushback, I think it's easy for managers or anybody in this situation to assume what the pushback is about, and then just try to put solutions in based upon what they think the problem is. And I think it's important to dig deep and figure out, like, you didn't ask directly this time. You still somehow got to it, that I just don't know how to do this task.
Yeah.
And that's an important detail, right? Especially if you have a tight turnaround, you can't afford to, like, suddenly sit down and train me for like weeks on how to do this.
Absolutely. And then I also was thinking, do I even know you have access to the systems, especially
Mm,
financials? You might not even have the kind of the permission to that system, or
right.
don't know how to operate the system.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so really asking also, or being curious and having open mind rather than judging and saying, well, he doesn't want to do it because he is blah blah blah, but
Yeah.
really being open-minded and listening for what is really the challenge. Of course, it's extra workload. Is that just that, or is that something else? And you actually shared, I actually don't know how to do it even.
Yeah. Right.
So what could be some other tips for the listeners when when either they are the manager or they are somebody that is pushing back, maybe for this time the manager?
Yeah. I gave you an out, so that's on me. But I do think that if you are managing a team of more than one person, that group conversation should happen first.
Yeah,
I think that group conversation should have happened before you have this one-on-one.
absolutely.
And as a group, you say, let's this same and facilitate it the same way. This is the problem. This guy left. We have all these things that still need to get done. And so as a group, let's figure out what's the priority, what needs to get done, what can we hold off until we hire somebody else, and who can pick up what parts, knowing that not everybody has the same skill sets. And if everybody has a skill set and everybody just doesn't want to do it, we still got to get it done. So what can we shift around so that we can at least get this done temporarily?
I I agree. I would also share. I hear you say we. It's not about me, and it's your problem now. I need you to do it, and you need to
Mm,
figure it out how to learn that, even if you don't
mhm.
know it. It's not my problem anymore. I'm the manager. I give you that. You should figure
Yeah.
it out. No, it's really about us. It is our problem. How can we, all of us, solve this together so us as a team
Yeah.
can get through this together.
Yep. Yeah. And I think you made me think of also, there's also the other type of manager, the other extreme, which is they're super nice and they don't want to delegate because they know it's extra. So then the manager kind of takes it on for themselves and they end up burning out
Yeah.
because they're putting in, 20-hour days and
Unhealthy. Mm-hmm.
unhealthy. And
Divorced.
so the managers need to also do work. The managers need to delegate and they cannot do all the work themselves. That's also a true
Absolutely.
fact.
Yes. Yeah. One more thing, I don't know if
Mm.
we've mentioned it before, really also having empathy and sharing empathy
Mm.
and wanting to understand the other person's position and the challenge. And that wraps up today's episode on effective delegation and managing pushback from team members. How did we do? What did you like? What do you think we could do better? We really want to make this valuable for you. If you have your own experiences or questions about handling similar situations, we would love to hear from you. Drop us an email or comment on our social media channels. Your input could be featured in one of our upcoming episodes. And please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for more episodes like this and help us to support more people by leaving a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform. Again, thank you so much for tuning in and see you in the next episode.